welcome back to another Speakers Magazine live interview. I am, of course, Brian Olds. If we haven't had an opportunity to meet yet, president and founder here at Black Speakers Network. I am joined with the one and only Sierra Black, Atlanta, Georgia, and she is our wordsmith extraordinaire, writing all these incredible cover articles that we have. And of course, the founder is in the building of Speakers Magazine. Dr. Pam Perry, Detroit, Michigan, is here. Ladies,
Hey
good
there.
morning.
How are you? How are
I
you?
am me or Sierra?
We're
It's me.
great.
I am
Me.
doing
So I
great.
was like, how about that? Is that
Yeah, I
an
would.
icebreaker or what? All right. All right. Cool, cool, cool.
It's not the same without the sound effects. I love it. Yeah, but I'm super excited.
Me
Happy
too.
Women's History Month to both of you.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
and we also just wrapped up International Women's Day as
Mhm.
well. So it is Girl Power, which is reason why I have my Speak Black Woman book right here in the background.
All
In
right,
addition to my Speakers
Quinn.
magazine, so
There you
it is a good time. Have y'all and speak of but Pam? See, this is why I rock with Pam.
go.
Have y'all been enjoying Women's History Month so far?
This has been an exciting month. I mean, really, I have not seen as much activity. Well, one, we're coming out of COVID, so many different events women are having. It's been and it's only like the 11th, so people are like rocking it. They are so excited about coming out of Black History Month and then Women's History Month. I mean, this has been a lot of things going on. I'm just excited about. I've never seen International Women's Day trend as much this year on Twitter than I did this year. Really, I,
Yeah.
I just hadn't. It was just crazy, and it's a thing.
Crazy good.
It's a thing. Yeah, it was really really good. There
All
she
right.
There
is.
she is.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good morning.
Good
We was just getting
afternoon.
to you. Oh yes,
Yes,
good
good
afternoon.
afternoon.
It's not even morning. Well, I guess it is. Nobody's on
Somewhere.
the yeah,
In
somewhere,
California.
somewhere, somewhere.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tara. I'm so excited to have you. You are, of course, featured on the cover this month of Speakers Magazine. And so I'm super excited to welcome you to Black Speakers Network and to this live stream. I'm super excited to introduce you to our audience. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. How is everybody doing? Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Good, good. We are. You are looking fabulous, and
Oh,
on the
thank you.
cover as well. That this
Yes.
is of Tera Carissa. There we go. There we go. I love it. I
Mhm.
love it.
I feel like having one of these giant blown up speakers magazine, you're like in a rare club. It's like think Illuminati, think um
Not Illuminati, not Illuminati.
like you can it's rare. Like not everybody has one, and they come with but think Amex Centurion card, like airport lounge access, whatever you
Okay,
need.
yeah, I have airport lounge access, so we can use that analogy.
Dr.
Oh,
Sandy Trim says she has hers actually framed in her office. She said
Okay,
she did.
awesome.
She did. She said, I have it framed in my office. I was like, what? And so she did like a little FaceTime. I said, you sure do? She said, yeah, it matches. I was like, that it does. So it's a decor piece as well. So there you go.
Awesome, awesome.
well,
I
well
saw this meme of like a baby screaming and calling heaven and saying, guess what? Rihanna is my mom. And it was on the, playing on the fact that a baby would be very happy that Rihanna is their mama. So I'm going to put this in my baby's room so my baby can be excited that I'm their mama.
I
You
love it.
came through me.
I know. Oh my
I
God.
love it. I love it. Well, Tara, I know there are some people that might not have heard of you. You are, of course, an incredible empowerment coach, speaker, women's empowerment coach, speaker, author, and you're also the founder of LR Global Media Group. And I've read, of course, this issue of Speakers Magazine and just some of the incredible things that you and your firm have been able to achieve. But to the uninitiated, could you let folks know a little bit more about you and what you're doing with LR Media?
Sure. Well, a lot of people know me as an empowerment speaker, as a coach, and that's just who I am. 90% of my audience is women, so you're very accurate when you say that. I have a huge women's following, and I'm very grateful for that. But above and beyond that, I am just me living life unapologetically, and I think that's what causes my audience to really connect with me because in the church world, I'm a preacher. but I'm a preacher that goes swimming in bikinis and sips some margaritas unapologetically, and will welcome you to call your bishop and tell your bishop you saw me on Instagram doing that. So, I think that that is why people connect with me, because I am me unapologetically. I live life. I love life. I love hard. And that's just who I am. Yes, I do a lot in the media. That is what my undergrad and my master's degree is in. It's in the media realm. And so I've been in media since 2006 when I graduated with my undergraduate in broadcast journalism from Florida A&M University. And
All right,
I'm
now
just,
let's
again,
talk.
yes, I'm a rattler, baby.
Yeah, let's
And
go.
so I've just evolved from there and realized, you know what? There is a space that is needed in the empowerment community, in the ministry community as it relates to the media. And I believe that that is what my company does. We are fulfilling that void.
Yeah, I think the you know, I know that you have something like a 500,000 followers across all of your social media
Absolutely
platforms.
organically, didn't buy him, praise God.
Yeah,
Listen, talk that. And
followers. No, no,
and
no.
and I think that's a testament to what you're saying, or would you agree that that's a testament to what you're saying? Your ability to blend your authentic personality or your personal brand, if you will, without trying to feel like you're having to kind of perform in a certain box of being this whatever society
Oh,
is saying.
absolutely. I don't do well with restraints. I'm not going to try to live up to an image because I think that that is very restricting. And so I show people who I am because that's who I'm going to be. And I think that so many people in life, and especially in the ministry arena, they struggle with a certain level of depression. I'm not talking about the clinical depression. We need to see a doctor and therapist and all of that. But I think that there is a certain level of depression that a lot of ministers struggle with because they're not authentic. They go out to eat and they're afraid to order a drink because what if somebody who follows me on social media sees me drinking? Well, you're gonna see me drinking, but you've never seen me drunk. Period.
Okay.
And you will deal with it, or I'm not your brand, and that's okay. And so I'm at a space and place in my life that I don't need your coins. And so whether you like me, don't like me, agree with me, disagree with me, that's not going to impact my bottom line. And so part of what I do is I work with other ministries to help them solidify and fortify streams of income in their niche so that they don't feel like they have to wear a mask just to eat.
Mhm.
Mm,
And
Let me,
one of the things that I will say, how Tara Carissa and I met, probably about 15 years ago, maybe longer
Mhm.
than that.
Wow,
But
MySpace.
no, it was MySpace, and I was like, and so on those different type of platforms, you can kind of tell a little bit about a person. And I knew
Mhm.
she was Christian,
Mhm.
obviously. And it wasn't because she was real religious, but just the things that she was sharing. And over the years, I just always watched her, saw her grow. And consistency is really, really key of growing a brand organically. She has always
Mhm.
been true to herself, always has been empowering women. She's been about it. She's not over inflating the fact that she knows celebrities and this and that. It's just, if you know her like 20 years ago, it's that same humility that has always been the same. You could pick up the phone and call her. I did after her,
Mhm.
after the baby was not born yet. I don't think the baby was what,
Not yet. She was still kicking on the inside of me. My princess.
and I was like, I really just want to bless you. She says, no, that's okay. I just, I said, did you have a shower? He's like, no, I'm okay. I said, do you have an Amazon store? You like, no, I don't. I was like, okay. I said, she is still sweet. I was like, I am just like so in love with her humility, but it's powerful. And that's how she really empowers women with that same type of energy, I guess you would say, that same type of energy. And even though she says, she's broadcast, she married the two. She
Mhm.
married the two to make a difference in mainstream media, which is so needed. Hello, it's so
Mhm.
needed in mainstream media to really
absolutely.
put her main message about love and light in mainstream media. And she's like she said, she's unapologetic and has been, not just like, oh, the last 5 years since Instagram or what. No, it's always since MySpace, like going through of them,
It,
right? And
now,
and and
I,
that's
look, I want to add this because Pam mentions she met her 15 years ago, right? And she's watched the growth, so to speak.
probably
Me just meeting her, Brian, let me just tell you the little time that I had to spend with her, all of that came across so quickly. The authenticity, the humility, the ministry, all of that just came across immediately, you know. And, you know, as a brand storyteller, as a writer, I, that's the thing that left me. That's why the article starts off with me acknowledging and recognizing that she is a walking brand. She is exactly what she says she is, and she lives it every day. And to me, the fact that she allows someone to, or she helps validate or confirm, like, you know, if you're a bishop, you may be afraid to drink, you know, you're going to see me drink. That's what you're going to see me drink, but never drunk. And
Yeah.
to me, to give that empowerment to others that she connect with, that's what's so valuable, among other things. But she, to me, is that walking brand, and it is certainly about empowerment.
I
I'm
like that.
truly humbled. Thank you.
I like that.
Get
Walking brand. That
get
was
get
what you said. I love that. That was
get,
really cool.
get your flowers while you're here, Tara.
Yes, absolutely,
Definitely.
absolutely.
I would love to dig in a little bit more with LR Global Media specifically because, first of all, I know the name was derived from life labels, lifestyle brands. You got redefined. You have that
Mhm,
on the cover of Speakers Magazine.
mhm.
Um, can you talk a little bit about like your work there, and then also, obviously, here in Black Speakers Network, we have individuals who are running their own personal brand all the time, but we're also engaging with brands and companies, and sometimes you're being hired as a speaker, and a lot of times an extension of that is you temporarily become kind of like a brand ambassador. So as you're working on these media campaigns, marketing campaigns, I would just love to hear a little bit more about your thought process in terms of like brand engagement. Like, how do you like measuring success for your clients, and then also like how do you kind of manage like expectations, because I feel like Pam talks about this all the time, like
Mhm.
when you're working with a company, like everybody wants the Super Bowl commercial, everybody wants to get in front of a million people. Like, what's your process of engaging clients, and how do you manage like what they're going to get versus what we can actually provide?
Really understanding what is their bottom line, because every campaign, the bottom line is not money. It can be an image revamp. It can be introducing a new way of thinking, especially if I'm dealing with an influencer. So really getting clear from the door, what is it that you want this campaign to produce for you? And then setting a pathway to create that end result. And then when we get to that result, we know that we've accomplished what it is that you wanted, because this is what you said you wanted. And so I would just caution people to understand that everybody's end result is not money every single time. And in fact, it can't be money every single time. If money is your end result, then you will compromise. But if you have a bigger vision, a bigger goal, yes, the money will come. But if you have a vision or a purpose that you're working towards, that is going to be what needs to drive you.
I love it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. And then do you have specific like brands or industries that you like enjoy working with overall? Like, I know you work with small businesses, larger
Mhm.
ones as well, personal brands, but like who do you get like really, I let's say maybe in this season, like who do you get really excited about working with?
I love, 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 love working with people who are transitioning into the speaking arena. So, for
Mm.
example, I've worked with past NFL players. I've worked with, people that are transitioning from whatever their corporate industry may be into the speaking arena. And I love that because I love helping them find their footing, helping them find their place, and being comfortable with who they are, and understanding that, yeah, if you used to be a football player, your audience is expecting you to use football terminology. So don't try to become John Maxwell. He's a
Mhm.
pastor.
Yeah.
And so really helping people find their identity and their brand.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is key. Because I think sometimes when you transition into speaking, the temptation is to try to model the Les Browns, the Lisa Nichols, the Eric Thomas, like the people that you've seen, and it's like, nah, you're losing that authenticity because you're trying to become a copy of somebody else.
I mean, that's how you end up in bondage. I'm not Les Brown. I'm not anybody else. I am me. And I think that people really have to understand that there's an ease and a grace that comes naturally when you truly are being yourself.
Love it, love it. Well, it sounds like we got to do some work with you with Black Speakers Network because
Hey,
we
Yeah.
email
got
me. I'm here.
we got plenty of space for you over here.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
So yeah, and I heard that you by the way, Florida A&M. Your
Yes.
alma mater. So I read in Sierra's incredible article that you
Mhm.
kind of kicked off your foray into media by interviewing a presidential candidate. Is that correct?
Yes, John Edwards at the time. And it's so crazy because I didn't even realize this until one of my professors pointed it out. But if you were to go to the famun.com or online, whatever it is, and put in my name, my articles that I wrote 15 and 16 years ago still come up on the website. I
Oh,
wrote for the FAMU and obviously as a student at FAMU.
wow.
And absolutely, in 2004, I interviewed John Edwards. If you guys remember the fiasco with the 2000 election,
Mhm.
everything that played out with the Bush family. At that time, when I was at Florida A&M University, Jeb Bush was the governor, and obviously Florida A&M is in Tallahassee, the capital of Florida.
Right.
So walking distance, and so FAMU in Tallahassee was really a hot spot in 2014. I'm sorry, not 2014, 2004. I actually also ended up interviewing Jesse Jackson. I did a ride along on the bus with him
Oh my
and
God.
interviewed him about the implications of the 2004 election based on what we were coming off of in 2000. And so that's really when I, kicked off being unafraid to interview celebrities, civil rights leaders, etc. And I just give God the glory. At that particular time, my interview aired on the campus news station, the television station, obviously because my undergrad is broadcast journalism. And then also, again, you can actually go to the FAMU and online, put in my name, and actually read several of the articles. And even before that, I interviewed Omar Tyree, who is a well-known
What? He
author. Yeah, and
now.
I think that interview was still on the FAMU. And so I interviewed Cedric the Entertainer. He was in town for Florida State's homecoming. You know anything about Tallahassee, FAMU, Florida State, we're next door neighbors. And so he came in for their homecoming, and I went and I interviewed him there as well. Also, I interviewed Megan Good. Now, on your Speakers Magazine website, you have the cover of Arian Simone. I know her as Arian
Mhm.
Reed. I met Arian
Yes, she's from
many
Detroit. Yep,
years ago
Florida AME.
when
Yep.
I was a freshman. When you are a freshman at FAMU, you go through a program during the summertime called TOPS. I met Arian at TOPS, and we, been connected ever since. But in college, Arian owned a clothing store at the
Yes, she
Tallahassee
did.
Mall.
She did. In
And
college.
also was doing a lot of PR and marketing during that time. And one of her events is she brought in Megan Good. Megan Good
Her buddy.
at a
Mhm.
nightclub, and she allowed me to interview Megan Good. So I was interviewing celebrities. Play with it now. I was interviewing celebrities about
Come
undergrad.
on. Come on.
So we were just talking about Beyonce before you came on, right? We were talking about how we were excited because we had tickets and all of that. And
By we mean Pam, because I don't
okay,
have tickets. Sierra, you
Do I
got
have
tickets?
tickets?
Nah, Tara, do you have tickets? I don't have tickets.
she did an article talking about Tara Carissa Hodges on Beyonce formula, the foolproof way to gain focus and clarity for success. And this one isn't one of the thing where she says, I've always been a media head, but beyond that, I was inspired to enter this industry from seeing people, brands, and companies through storms and lose their influence and credibility. And then it says, with truth as a foundation and the right strategy, you can tell your story brilliantly while gaining influence instead of losing it. But one of the things she talks about Beyonce is that this is where the focus comes in. She said Beyonce's foundation is singing, right? We all agree that. But once she made it big, she got off into acting, which I
Mhm.
really love, a lot of her movies, clothing design, photography, her own perfume line, and more. But her foundation stabilized her, which in turn gave her a platform, which Tara Caressa talks about a lot, to branch off into other areas besides singing. I tell my clients to commit to a foundation and grow from there. And
Mhm.
that's what I just really love about her because you did the same thing. You started with the foundation and
Oh,
grew from there.
absolutely. I mean, even we take it back when I was 16 years old and my article made the front page of my hometown paper. So I've always been in love with media. I've always been in media. Going back to MySpace days when you became aware of me in 2006, I had a blog that had over 10,000 subscribers on MySpace.
Yes, and
And
people
so
weren't even blogging then, right?
you weren't even blogging then. That's just who I am. It's my brand. It's my authenticity. It's who I am. And I've known since I was 14, but for sure around 16 that I was called to preach. And
Mhm.
so, I married the two. And so for me, media and ministry is my foundation, but I do a heck of a lot more. And you will continue to see me do a lot more because I tell people I'm much like David in the Bible. David in the Bible starts off being a shepherd, but then he evolves into becoming a warrior. Then he evolves into becoming a king. And I just believe that life is about growth and evolution,
It is.
especially when you're like me. You're the servant, that the Lord gave 10 talents to, as we see in Matthew 25. And so I tell people that when you stabilize yourself with your foundation, do not become afraid to grow. Now you need to keep in contact with your foundation because they are the reason why you have that strong root, that strong foundation, and you can grow. But at the end of the day, never be afraid to produce new fruit.
There you go. I love it. And that's one of the things we call that pivoting. You can pivot, but your purpose is always the same, but you can
Purpose is the
pivot.
same. I mean, listen, 2006, I was what, 22, 23. I'll be 40 in June. I can't be the same person at 40,
No way.
nor do I desire to be that I was at 22 or 23.
I want the
Facts.
same body though I had though at that.
You know what? Really? Okay. So I'm glad that you
At
said that.
23, that was before we were doing the gram. But if I was 23 and had the gram,
Well,
oh my God. Like my daughter, she would be like, I'm
So
gonna
you
just
know what?
post it.
It's funny that you say that because I have been a size zero my entire life. Like as of before I got pregnant, I could literally still wear clothes from junior high. Okay.
What?
Yes. Okay.
That's
So
like,
now I've had a baby and I have never, so before I got pregnant, I never weighed over 110 pounds. So now I'm 118 and holding, and I'm a size two. And so I'm kind of liking my new weight. I've been going back and forth with my
she got
husband. He
curves
wants me to
and
hold
the
on
size
to it.
two.
I've never been a size two all my life. I've always
Oh
been a
my
zero.
God.
So
We need to be playing that music, Bad Mama Jamma, or either Brick House, one or the other, right?
but my husband, he loves the new weight. And so I'm debating, do I want that? But I'm already told him that because we about to drop another baby shortly. But I've already told him
is
that
that
listen,
breaking? Is that
Is
a
after I
that
ex-
drop
breaking
this
news?
last
is that
baby, I'm not
exclusive?
pregnant yet, but we
Oh,
we we,
okay.
we having
Oh,
playtime.
okay.
We enjoy it.
Okay.
But I
I
told him,
thought we got
listen,
a
listen,
scoop.
boo boo.
I did too.
Now,
TMZ.
God blessed me not to have any stretch marks or cellulite after baby number one. But if I get in and out with baby number two, I'm going straight to Dominican. It is what it is. I'm not going to lie and tell y'all I wore a waist trainer. I'm not going to lie and tell y'all I took some magic pills. I went to the Dominican and got the body done. That's what's going to be my truth. And I owned it. And what you going to do, Pop?
It could be. Does not have to happen. I know people who have had 4 and 5 children, and then it's like you don't even look like you had kids. So
Praise
you know,
God. But if
so
I end up doing it, just know.
that's the thing. That's the thing. So I saw on the Instagram, there's some pictures there that talk about some international work that you're doing, and I
Mhm.
think that's close to your heart as well. So tell people, and it looked like it was like it was in Africa, and it was water. So tell us
Mhm.
about that. Water is such a basic human need. I mean, it's like the foundation things of what we need. So tell us about what you're doing there.
I have always had a heart for international work, especially when it comes to the area of philanthropy.
Hmm.
And I have been giving to organizations like Water Wells for Africa, Street Grace, um, you name it. I mean, I give to so many organizations at this point, I literally don't even keep up with all of them seriously. But this particular organization was brought to my attention through the United Nations, and it's run by an African American, correction, a Nigerian woman. So you said African American in Nigeria. And I really read through her mission. I read through the water crisis in that particular area of Nigeria that she serves. And God really put it on my heart to, begin to fund water wells there. And so
Mm.
the water wells that we have established in Nigeria are on or near school campuses so that we can ensure that the next generation definitely has clean water. I mean, I don't know how anybody can live without clean water, from washing your
Right.
hands to taking a bath to flushing the toilet. I
Yeah.
don't know how anybody can survive, and I don't want to know. But what I do know and what I do believe is that water is a basic right. And
Mhm.
as much as I can continue to fund water wells, clean water for anybody, and let's be clear, I've also funded clean water projects here in the United States.
Yeah.
I grew up in Mississippi, and it's just a shame, what came to light in Jackson, Mississippi last year. That's ridiculous. In
Mhm.
what
I
we
saw
deem
that.
quote unquote a first world country, and we're having those problems. And so I definitely put on my hat and did some work behind the scenes there.
Wow.
I don't broadcast everything that I do. I don't broadcast every organization that I financially support. But in that case, and I think even on that particular video that's on my Instagram page, I had no idea that the founder was going to go public and have the children shout me out. And I was truly humbled by it.
Mhm.
And so that's why I chose to put it on my Instagram page. But I just believe that water is a basic right. Other organizations that I fight, tooth and nail for financially, it's just heartbreaking to me what people don't have that I personally believe is just a basic right.
And what I liked about it, Tara, was the fact that it showed missions, that you're doing missions. And missionaries, sometimes when people think of missionaries, that they're not, um, that they're old bitty ladies, like little old missionaries in the church and that sort of thing. And you're far
Not
from that.
really.
This is a young, vibrant, beautiful woman doing missions work. And so that inspires all the gram people on the gram. It's like, you know what? I never thought about that. Yeah, let me look at how I can help with missions, because obviously we have a connection with the motherland. And so it's always a lot of Caucasian people, a lot of white people given to missions over in Africa, and a small percentage are really African Americans. And obviously the key word and not the thing of us is African American. So we need to know about that and to give to missions. So that's why I saw that on there. Dr. Pat Bailey is like a really, really former client, good friend of mine. So she gives submissions as well. Again, both of you guys are not the typical missionaries that people think of, always glamorous, all the, looking like really, really fly. But she has a heart for mission. She will go in Sudan. She will go to Nigeria. Doesn't matter. She went to the tsunami. I mean, so it's like you've got to have a heart for people, and that's what you really have. And it's true.
I give God the glory, and I just feel led in my spirit to say this. There are a lot of times I'm out of the country and people don't even realize it, because
Mhm.
there is some mission work that you cannot broadcast. You cannot
Yeah,
advertise for
it
safety
can be
reasons,
dangerous.
especially
Yeah.
when you are deemed a quote unquote public figure. And so I want people to understand that this is not the type of mission work that you go and you start posting selfies, or you start
Right.
posting people on the internet that you have helped. There have been times that I've helped out in what is considered a conflict zone. You
Mhm.
understand? And you get in and you get out. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then there's sometimes you use wisdom. There have been times that I've been invited to high conflict zones, and after prayer, the Holy Spirit said, support them this way, not that way. And let me give you some biblical context for that, so that Christians don't think that you have to run to a war zone. When you go to the book of Acts, the Holy Spirit warned Apostle Paul and said, do not go to Asia. So yes, there will be times that the Holy Spirit will tell you where not to go, because the Holy Spirit is trying to preserve your life. Is
Mhm.
trying to preserve your health, your purpose that is yet to be fulfilled in the earth. And so I want everybody to understand that there is a level of glamour to fundraising. When I go to, events, or I go to auctions, silent auctions and fundraisers here stateside, and then there's a level that you will never hear me speak about publicly. So make sure that when you're launching into mission work, it's truly something that's coming from your heart.
That's it. That is
I,
so
I want to add this to just the point about posting. Although you may not do it often, the thing that I appreciate is that it brings awareness, right?
Yeah.
It brings awareness to the need that's out there.
Mhm.
Because as educated as we are, there's so many things that we are so uneducated about. And until we see someone like us in that space, knowing, being informed about it, and knowing that there is something we can do about it, that can change things.
I'm glad that you said that, because one of the organizations that I support monthly is Free the Slave. And you talk to the average American, they would tell you that slavery ended eons ago. That is not true throughout this globe. Slavery is real. And that is an organization that, like you said, I oftentimes I'll post and I'll say, hey, I gave. I'm not telling you what I gave, because I don't believe that you brag about what you've done, but I am posting for the very reason that you just said, to bring about awareness. Because oftentimes when I post Free the Slave, you can go to my page and say, what? I didn't even know this was a thing. It's a thing. And there are people who are in slavery right now, uh, you know, in other countries, and dare I even say America. Sex trafficking is slavery. You understand?
Mhm.
And so if you
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
broadcast, and
The
I want to put
problem.
a pause right there because I'm feeling led to bring up a point. Type of work I do that I don't advertise, I'm working with the government agency right now. Because when I took my baby on her first little plane ride, it bothered me that I'm not going to tell y'all where I flew, but let's just say I was never required to show proof that I was my daughter's parent or guardian. I could
Mm.
have been in Timbuktu and I
Mhm.
went through major airports, okay, because I live in a major city and I have a home in another major city. All right. And you talk about why is sex trafficking so rampant? Because I just went through a couple of the busiest airports in the world. Nobody asked me,
For
do you
any.
have any proof that you are this child's parent or guardian?
Mm.
Where's the paperwork? Where? Nobody.
Wow.
That
That's
became a
that.
major red flag to me. I reached out to somebody very influential in government, and we're working on closing that loophole now.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow. That's why it happens so often. People are like, well, how the heck? Well, nobody
You
asked.
wonder how did your child cross state lines or even get out the country? Because from my experience, nobody,
Mm.
nobody, nobody stopped me. Nobody asked me questions. Nobody asked for proof. Nobody.
Yeah, this is
Mm.
these are important conversations that, and again, like you said, not everything becomes like, Instagrammable, but this is like where the real work happens because this is where change. Like nothing changes until somebody,
Mhm.
speaks up actually,
Yeah.
and it is
Yeah.
not always
It
on a
makes it,
stage.
it makes it their mission. There's a friend of mine. Her name is Natalie Wilson, and she was started Black and Missing. Black and Missing is her organization. She was a publicist, but she just felt like a lot of people, a lot of Black people who were missing weren't making the news,
Hmm.
or it wasn't being talked about. So she started a whole organization. It's been her. It's had taken on legs of its own. Natalie is giving her a shout out, but it's work that because a cousin of hers was missing for a long, long time. She was trying to get people to talk about it, and they were like, oh well, they probably just ran away, or they're probably it was like just dismissed. And so she didn't want it to be dismissed, and so she started the organization. This is gone on. She was in Variety, I think, this month, and all the kind of things because of her media background. So sometimes our purpose is you think it's for one thing, and then you use it for something else just because of the platform that God has given you because He can trust you with it. So that's what I love
Absolutely.
about Tara Carissa. So yeah.
To
So
God be the glory. And that's why I'm
I
suspicious
think,
of ministers that only preach on stage. If you only
yeah.
preach on stage, I'm suspicious of you because real ministry is done off the stage. Ministry is
Mhm.
done on the stage. You're touching and impacting lives. But when the glamour is gone, the lights are off, nobody is looking at you. What are you doing for the cause of Christ, the betterment of people when the cameras are gone?
Mhm.
Well, speaking of glamour, I just want to point out I always am excited to see when the cover gets leaked. Speakers Magazine, but this March 2023 issue looks incredible. Tara, you
Thank
again,
you.
congratulations,
Yes.
making it to the cover.
I
And
love I love this photo.
is that what city do we got back there? Is that
ATL.
that's ATL?
ATL shouting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, so Tara, was this a this is a great photo. Was this taken specifically, like did you like go get headshots and you was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for, or was this like a Speakers Magazine exclusive, or like how did you
You know
know which
what?
one?
I did take photos specific to the shoot, but I also like this picture as well. So I sent them in to Pam and said, just choose what you like. But this particular photo was taken for my greeting card launch, my greeting card line. You can go to
I saw that.
Walgreens and absolutely. And so that's been out since pre-baby. So that was 2021. So this is a pre-baby 2021 picture.
Pre-baby.
Yes.
All right. Well, it looks incredible, and
Thank
I
you.
know on the front cover we have a couple videos that are embedded as always that you all
Mhm.
can check out. And by the way, for those joining or just checking us out for the first time, Speakers Magazine is the official magazine of Black Speakers Network. So part of our goal today is to do this live issue walkthrough. And so if you are interested in checking it out, you get over to speakersmagazine.com, click on online issue, and
It's free.
follow along as we go through it. And it is free, absolutely free. As we flip to the inside cover, I know that Pam, you actually have been doing a great job with the quick media coverage on something
Mhm.
that was Ross, I think like 2 months ago, right? So
Yeah,
it's like running
January.
strong.
Just January. It was a pivot again that we were talking about, the PR pivot, because a lot of people do want media coverage and they want it quickly. And so we have a way where we partner about 50 different organizations where we can get people media coverage very quickly, very easily and painlessly. People really want, I mean, if I can, me and Sierra can talk about, okay, it may take 6 months to do something but people don't want to wait that long. We're at the phase where people just really want to be seen really quickly. So we've partnered with some organizations and actually have people out there quicker. So that's one of the main things that we have. And some people say, "I see you everywhere." It's like, "Yep, we do. We see you everywhere." Uh oh, we don't see Sierra. Where'd she go?
I'm
Come
sure
back
I'm sure we'll get it back.
here. Okay. And
Uh,
the podcast is Get Out There, Get Known. That's going strong. I think we're at episode 112 or something like that. But primarily talking to media people about what's involved in terms of actually getting in the media. You have to have news. That's one big thing. They always say I have to know the media. So Get Out There, Get Known is the podcast is primarily for those that are speakers and authors or subject matter experts to hear from the straight from the media, like what they're looking for, so they can be ready to get out there and go and speak. So it's on all podcast platforms. You can go to Alexa and say, "Hey, play Get Out There, Get Known," and it'll start playing, which is kind of cool. One time I went to my Alexa and said, "Hey, Siri, play such and such," and Alexa was like, "Are you calling me out of my name?" I'm like,
oh
I was like,
yeah,
I was like,
that
that's Siri.
that
I mean, not Alexa Siri. I'm getting them confused.
that'll get your packages rerouted. So be
Right,
careful.
right.
Like,
Like I say Siri on my Mac and I say Alexa in the house. So it's like you gotta figure out which one you're doing. So
yeah.
that's really it.
And then
Mm.
on the next page, I know I always like these because you do such a good job pulling together the theme, which of course,
Yeah.
obviously, we're in Women's History Month. So from the
And there's
desk of Pam
Beyonce
Perry.
down there. We can do it.
Oh, that is Beyonce.
That
Yeah.
is Beyonce. Yeah, one of the things that Beyonce is just like she's that sort of like that symbol for women and women. What do they call it? She's a feminist, like whatever that is. So it's like my daughter talks about. She says, "Yeah, she's this and that." I was like, "Okay." So for her, it's Beyonce. For me, growing up, it would have been Diana Ross. Okay, something like that. So it's kind of like I'm trying to do that. But in the center there, for most Black women, we know that that is Michelle Obama. She is one of our, when we think of a total woman, like getting it all together, it's Michelle in the middle. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Then obviously there is Sojourner Truth and there's Rosa Parks. I'm going to start naming out the women. But anyway, that should have did like a little thing. Obviously there's Coretta Scott King and, so
Yep.
all of that, Dr. Rice. So yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I really talk about, are you Black women tired of being overlooked and unheard, and really telling people it's time to step out. It's time to step out. It's time to speak up. Is
But it's like I do think that Black women are crushing it though, because even as you're talking about the like how strong Women's History Month has seemed like it's come through, I feel like even though it's like Women's History Month, I feel like Black women specifically have been like leading
embraced
that
it.
kind of
We like to
And
celebrate each
let me allow me to add this too. Clearly Black women have always been crushing it. Let's just say that. But
other.
now it's the recognition and the awareness that others are seeing what has been going on behind the scenes for years. And
Yeah.
let me just back up a little bit more, because when Pam was talking about the get media quick, that was a pivot she made, but she did not do it without giving much thought to it. And I love, the one thing I love about Pam is her integrity. So even when she does get media quick, it's still going to have the same integrity as if you worked with her for months.
Mhm.
So let's not overlook that part. But I agree with you, Brian, that Black women are now getting recognition, but it's always been there. It's just now becoming more nationally aware, and I'm here for it.
Yep. There was a line that it says, "Ain't I a woman?" Right. And so, as history, like where does that line come from? And, a lot of times in history, because this is the thing, that we don't know where those lines come from. So I want to make sure that I started that, because if you want to Google that whole, there's a lot of people that are doing a reenactment of Sojourner Truth's "Ain't I a Woman." It is phenomenal. It will just put you in tears. So want to make sure, like in terms of Speakers Magazine, that we talk about I think one of the greatest women's speeches of all time was the one by Sojourner Truth, "Ain't I a Woman." So anyway, so that's how I started there. And then basically just trying to encourage other Black women to tell their truth as well. She,
Absolutely.
she had to tell her truth. How she had the name. I didn't even think about that. Sojourner
Uh,
Truth, right?
And I
Like,
want to tell
Yeah,
you, it's
and then
okay to tell your story, and it's okay to get involved in media to tell your story.
yes.
People
Oh
need
my
to understand that. I mean, companies buy ads and commercials all the time. And
God.
so don't be afraid to say, you know what, I want to invest in media coverage for my brand, for my product, whatever the case may be.
And tell your story. I
Mhm.
mean, it could be something very simple. And Letitia Nicole said this too, that she posted her quick media coverage on her page and people just applauded the great picture. And then she posted it again. And then they finally went back and read it and they didn't know the background of her backstory of where she
Mhm.
came and why she's in ministry and all of that sort of thing. And it was like people didn't know it. They just kind of see the pictures, but when they actually read the story, it's like, oh, now I get it. Now I get you. And it just increases that know, like, and trust factor, because her
absolutely.
story is very authentic. It's like, how did you get started? What does success mean to you? It's the same, it's those kind of things where it's like you're having a conversation with her. So yeah, that's the thing, that people really have to tell their story. They
And
really.
and I see we have Tony Moore here on the next
Yeah,
page,
yeah.
business and trademark attorney.
SR.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tony is
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
she
She
is.
is BSM member, and I've worked with her several times. I don't think I had a chance to really formally announce this. I think we were going to do something bigger, but I will announce it here
Okay.
since we didn't get the baby exclusive. Tara, we'll get that next time. Like,
I am hiding my baby. Not really, but I just, that's just my heart.
I no, don't pay attention to me, please don't. Like I have nothing to say about that. Um, but Tony Moore actually helped me get our very first, actually my very first trademark
What?
fully completed
I
for
did
Black
not
Speakers
know
Network.
that. Oh my
Nobody knew that,
God.
so I know it's like
Oh my
shining.
God. I love
And
that.
she sent me it in this beautiful frame. First time Black Speakers
Oh
Network. The
my
name is federally trademark protected, and
yes.
Tony did that. So if you need
Tony
yourself,
is the beast when it comes to that kind of stuff. She worked in corporate and now she's really working for herself doing that sort of thing. And she has a heart. It's part of legacy, part of wealth building, or what she calls that is in terms of her strategy. Her interview is actually on speakersmagazine.com on the website too, that we interviewed her. And she was just powerful. I mean, my head was just blown of all the information that she has stored up in that brain of hers. But yeah, definitely go and check out the interview that we did with her on that, because she's a trademark attorney and she can get you. I mean, people try to Google stuff. Don't do that. Get a real
yeah,
attorney.
you're gonna end up costing yourself more money in the long
Yeah,
run, because
right.
there's like the categories and like how stuff is like doing the due
Yes,
diligence.
yeah,
It's a
pay an
lot.
expert. Pay an expert. That's what you do. It's like really, yeah, yeah. I love it. And then
And
there's a lot of doctors in this next issue. This is Dr. Tamika Brown. You'll meet her too, Brian, when you come to Detroit. The next page, Monet.
yep, I was reading her. She's based out of Detroit.
Mm, well, she'll be coming to actually the Sean Fair event, Leadership Experience Tour. So that's
Oh,
where
okay.
you're meeting
She's
her.
not out of Detroit, but she'll be just
Yeah,
coming to
she'll
the
be
event. Got
yeah, she'll
it.
be flying in. So she's one of the ones where she is a leader whose purpose is really helping individuals discover their gifts and talent to dominate areas. Her background is really in engineering. She's got a PhD, very, very super
Oh
smart
wow.
education, motivation, empowerment speaker, right? And it's just one of those things where she's going to be speaking there. She's a neurocoding. specialist, licensed teacher. I mean, too many degrees to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you just got to hear her, right? Right. But anyway, you'll be hearing her. She's definitely, and also in ministry too. She has a ministry as well. So a lot of times people that have all of these talents, like the Tara said, you have all these talents, God gives them to you because he can trust you with it. So she's using them in ministry as well as all the other things as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then Nicole Roberts Jones, she is also been on the cover a couple of times of Speakers Magazine. She is the purpose producer. So she wrote an article this month talking about your purpose is needed now more than ever. So many people, I find that I remember a long time ago there was a book called The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, and people were talking about their purpose. I need to find my purpose, but you do need to find your purpose. And she talks about in this article how you can do that by knowing your DNA, and she calls it your distinct natural abilities. And so anyway, so that's a real good article there as well to kind of read that. I think her video is in there. If
Yeah,
not,
it is. It is.
yeah. So you
Yep.
can't really sometimes tell because if you put the video embedded over it, you won't be able to read the words. So I want people
Right.
to read the words and also watch the video. So that's kind of the like thing. So you can watch her video there as well. Nicole Roberts Jones. And then the center spread
Here we go. Oh,
is
snap.
Now
yes.
that was post baby. This is post baby.
Size 2.
Look
Size
at
2.
you.
Size two.
Crushing it.
Looking so cute. And so Business and Blessings, I like how Sierra gave that title, and she does that after she speaks with the cover story. So why did you give it this particular double B? I like alliteration anyway, but why did you give it that?
During our conversation, one of the things that she stressed was in the ministry, how many did not recognize that they can do business outside of the ministry. When she talks about being a preacher, you should not have to have your robe on for them to know that you are a preacher. And so she talks about bridging that gap and filling in that gap. That you don't have to only do business with Christians, right? There is a way to bring that ministry everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And that's what stood out to me mostly with her, as Pam and I had discussed, is that ability. And it goes back to authenticity. It goes back to empowerment. And Tara and I talked about mindset, because I asked her the question too, what was the life-changing moment for you, in becoming who you are? And she went back to her experience at Florida A&M interviewing the presidential candidate. And it's not, even though she mentioned all others that she interviewed, the fact that she navigated that with such ease, she said nobody could tell her nothing after that. She said, that's it. I knew I could do anything I wanted. People were shocked that she was able to get through. Imagine presidential candidate, you have Secret Service, right? You have so much security, but the fact that she made a way in there, got that interview, is still up to this day. She said that was very pivotal for her to realize there was nothing that she could not accomplish.
HBCU made.
Yes.
Yeah.
You put up Monet Dupay's comment, the last comment, if you can see that over to the side. Dupay, how do you pronounce your name, Brian?
Alaru.
LaRue. Yes, there she goes. I don't know if you know her. Yes, I don't know if you know her. Tara, do you know Dupay?
No, she looks very familiar. Where would I know her from?
Oh, she's on Instagram, and she has a ministry very similar to yours.
Okay.
You guys need to meet for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
she is absolutely, she's a BSM member, and you will be scrolling through Instagram, and then Dupay will say, "Can I pray with you?" And then she'll just,
Awesome.
yeah, and then she'll just go in. She was a part of our this particular book as well, Speak Up as well. But yeah, so she's watching over on YouTube as well. I see some Facebook users, but they got to accept the StreamYard thing, because right now it just says Facebook user.
I met Dupay on TikTok. That's how I came across her on TikTok, and did not realize she was part of Black Speakers Network. And I mentioned Brian, and that's how we came to know each other. But she has great content. Great.
Tara, I put her Instagram in the chat too, so you can.
Okay, cool.
So you
Thank you.
grab her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dupay is absolutely incredible. She's built an incredible. I mean, not only is she like an incredible Christian content creator, but she's also instructional design specialist herself. She's an
Awesome.
incredible speaker, like incredible host. She's done like everything, and she's in like literally in Southern California, so it's like great launching pad to do so
Mhm.
many incredible things. But
Mhm.
yes, you will. I think that would be a really great connection. So that's a great call out, Pam. One of the things I love about this article, I know you were talking about. You were asking like the best advice, and you said that the best advice was becoming an independent thinker, and that was clear like in the first even 2 minutes of this interview, when you're talking about like nobody's gonna tell you you can't wear a bikini. Like,
That's
like
correct.
I think that's powerful. And I think that's one of the things, you went to FAMU. I feel like HBCUs in particular do an excellent job of kind of fostering that kind of spirit. Like, hey, you're
Mhm.
going to go out into the world, think for yourself, don't follow the crowd, like be your
Correct.
own unique individual. Do you find that that was your experience too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Think for yourself, think critically, understand the society that you're in, but never forget who you are. And you really find out more in depth who you are when you are being taught your history. And so to be taught your history through a lens that maybe you've never heard it taught to you before, you've got to be an independent thinker and you have to be willing to accept facts that maybe you've never heard before. HBCUs are a master at doing that.
Mm, that is so cool. That is
Mhm.
so cool. And that could be why, like what you said, Erin Simone is like where she is as well. Cause she went to high school with me, went to Cass, and then went to Florida A&M. And then when she's at Florida A&M, she's running a boutique in the mall,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And now she's got the Fearless Fund and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, yeah, that is for sure. That is for
Mhm.
sure. I see that.
And so going to the next page, I know we have a few more speakers that are featured in a few more
Mhm.
articles.
Yeah.
So this is Dr. Guy, Dr.
Yeah.
Tanisha Guy.
You'll be meeting her. She's again one of the ones that'll be at Sean Fair's event, the Leadership Experience Tour as well. She's a transformational coach and consultant, background in mental health. That's when she does mental health counseling. And then Dee Dee Trotter, I think is a BSN member. Do you? I know you kid don't know all the members, but I
Not
believe
all
she's
of we
she's a
we 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 had 100 new members last month. It
right.
was
So
that was
she's one of them, and she's an Olympian champion as
okay.
well as a chef, and also speaking as well. She would be a person that definitely you've got to just kind of meet. She, like I said, she's from Atlanta, recently graduated from the Art Institute of Atlanta with a degree in baking and pastry. Now she's an Olympian. That was just like part of her life, but she had another talent too where she's in baking and pastry. She does these incredible cakes
You
that
do not need to convince me to meet a pastry chef. Like I mean, you could stop talking. Like
and
drop
they
drop
look
drop
really,
the
really good too,
drop the
right?
link.
But she's a head pastry chef at one of the top golf clubs in Atlanta. So that's one of her main things as well. But she's
Oh,
a
Sierra, you better get on
track
that.
track and field Olympian. So that's one of her main things, a track and field Olympian. So I guess she's got to do all that, and that's why she's still so thin. I guess too. She's not eating it. She's still working out. So yeah, yeah.
I could not do it. I could not do it. I would be on like what was like my 600 pound life. Like talk about
But
well
yeah,
and then
that's Dee. So she's a BSM member as well. And then the next one is, even though this issue was all women, we did have Brian talk
oh snap.
about three times women have used their voice to change history. So
Mhm.
I really, really like this particular article because I told Brian, I said, the theme is Women's History Month. I said, so give us some history. So he did. He talked about the civil rights movement, the education for girls, and then also the women's suffrage movement. So that was the history there that you gave. So people need to
Yeah.
read that.
And Sojourner Truth is and mentioned that article, like you mentioned before,
Mhm.
Ida B. Wells, Rosa Parks, just some incredible, powerful examples throughout history. And that's what I was telling you, Tara. Like, you're speaking up literally, when you're giving the example of taking your daughter through the airport. Not everything starts as like this big, massive, you're in front of like thousands of people, like,
Mhm.
but it's like, what is that? phrase like evil prevails when good people do nothing. And I think,
Mhm.
women have been in the forefront of kind of bringing some of
Mm,
those things to light. Women
mhm,
have been, to your
mhm,
point earlier, Sierra. So yeah, this was a fun article to put together.
mhm.
Um,
And
and
Ashley Scott, she is just debuted during Literacy Month. Her first book, children's book. She's a child care expert. She's out of Florida. She went to, I want to say she went to Florida A&M. Yeah, she did. She's a graduate. How about that?
I
She sure
see.
did. Yeah, she sure did. And she owns a preschool, and she does a lot of nonprofit grants for people who also want to do work with childcare, you know, doing centers and that sort of thing. So yeah, she does consulting workshops again. Also, this is just her ministry as well. So she's really all things about really just building up children, you know, especially Black children. So that's one of the things about Ashley there. And she'll be also too speaking at an event in April as well. So yeah, so that's it. Again, I mean, when she talked about all the things that she did, I think there must be something about those HBCUs, because I was like,
Mhm.
what? She has also been a school district administrator overseeing 10.8 million annually. And then she put down, and I'm also a graduate of Florida A&M. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, all right, all right. So that's it. That's one of the things. Then the last person there that we have on the last page, Monet, is the Nick Colbert. So she started an organization called the Bow, Black, I think it's Black owned women or Black business. Anyway, I'm messing the name up, but she started an organization that is really pioneering for Black women business owners. And she is an attorney, and she does legal and branding strategies, and just really, really powerful. Her organization has the nation's top 100 Black women who are in this organization, helping them with contracts, capital, and communication initiatives. So she's going to be interviewed also too on Speakers Magazine podcast. But Nick Colbert, she's in the DMV. She sure is. She's in the DMV area. TEDx speaker, wonderful, wonderful mission. Love what she's doing. Love what she's doing. So Nick is there. And then again, Brian, you'll be here for the Leadership Experience Tour with Sean. Oh, you're muted. Unmute, Brian.
Just kidding.
There you go.
Yeah, so yes, I'm super excited about the Leadership Experience Tour. I'll be speaking there as well as collaborating with Sean on some initiatives. Thanks to your connection, Pam.
Cool, cool.
So looking really forward to that. The Leadership Experience Tour is just continue to grow, and we have several Black Speakers Network members there presenting, and he just does a incredible job with providing video interviews, just a full service experience,
Mhm.
not just for speakers but for attendees too. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. That'll be good. Hopefully it'll be warm for you when you get here. Right now it's about 30, but you know, it's a couple of weeks. It may be up to 40.
I
So,
Oh,
just checked the weather. It's at 47. So I don't know if that's warm to you or not.
oh yeah, that's
Y'all
like a
keep
heat wave.
that way. Y'all keep that up there.
That's like a heat wave. What you talking about? Oh my
I
God.
mean,
47.
I'm
We're
I'm gonna
doing
be
good.
I'm gonna be inside anyway. I'm
Okay.
not. I don't really care.
All right. And then the what we always do, Tara was the cover, and then the back cover is always an event of the person who's going to be on the front cover. So this is her event will be in Vegas. Is Tam Luck, and her event is a book launch and expo, which is in Vegas in the middle of the month. So
Awesome.
we're working on April, so she'll be like the cover of that. But that's really it, because you remember for February, Tara was the back. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. So February we had
Damn.
Nikiti, and then that, so we just
Mhm.
kind of we try to keep that little pattern going, uh, that kind of thing. So yeah, yeah. So that is the issue.
Now,
That is
now,
it. Yay.
all right. Well, Tara, I just want to thank you again, and thank you for joining us, and congratulations again on being prominently featured in the March issue. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up and close
Thank
up?
you so very much for having me. My final thoughts is everyone continue to be happy, continue to be great.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Thank you. Thank you. And then also too, you have an event coming up, but you'll keep us posted. We gotta go to your
I
website.
always have events coming up, praise God. But yeah, I will definitely,
They can go to
definitely keep
TeraCarissa.com.
everybody posted across my social media.
Yes, yes, yes. Very
Oh,
good.
and you live in Atlanta as well?
Primarily, yes. I have a home here in Atlanta. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna be coming to Atlanta soon and doing
Okay.
like
Well,
a
just DM me.
BSN
DM me.
mixer of sorts.
Yes.
I will definitely do that. And then for everybody watching, again, thank you so much. Again, you could check out Speakers Magazine online. It is available now, speakersmagazine.com. And then for those of you who are in the BSN community and you're trying to figure out how to get your article, your feature into the magazine, that is super easy. You can also head to speakersmagazine.com/get featured, and we will you'll have to find all the information you need to go ahead and make that a possibility. I think April's already full, right, Pam? So we're probably
Yeah,
booking for
April's
like May
yeah.
or June.
We're doing April now, so we're in production for April. But May is coming up. It's a big
Okay.
surprise cover for that. But yeah, that's coming up as well. A lot of ministry people come in. I guess it's the ministry is speaking, so that's another
Mhm.
thing for May.
That,
So yeah.
that's what it is. All right. Well, we are done.
Shout out
Thank you
Dr.
so much.
Shout out to Dr. Leroy McKenzie down there. Hey.
All right, what's going on, BSN? So we are done. Thank you so much again. We'll be back next month, and as we say in BSN, keep speaking up. Your audience awaits, and we will see y'all on stage. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right.